Hello guys, welcome again to Python programming for kids and teens. It's nice to have you guys here. So this is the fourth video in this series, and I hope that you guys have been having fun. In the last video, I showed you guys how to write your first Python code. You were able to install your Visual Studio Code if you didn't have it, and you're able to install your Python program, and you're able to run some code. Right? That is a lot of work, and I'm really proud of you guys because few people can actually do that. So you should be proud of yourself. So in today's video, we are going to be doing a lot of things, right? So I want you guys to get ready for it. So the first thing that we'll be doing today is Python comment. I'll show you guys what Python comments are, how to put comment in your code, and what comments are used for, and why it is very good for you to use Python comment. Then we're going to also look at Python variables, right? I will explain to you guys what variables are. Like, how do you use variable in your Python code? How do you store variables in your storage, right? To use it for programming, right? So I'm going to show you guys all of that, and we're going to write our own code, to for Python variables, right? Then I will also explain to you guys Python variable types, right? What types are, how you have to know the types of the variables that you are working with, and all of that. And I'm going to write code for that too. And finally, after knowing what variables are, how to declare variable and all of that, I'm going to show you guys how to use Python variables, right, to solve math equations, right? If you have some math problem, you want to use Python to solve it, right? You can use variables to do that. So I'm going to teach you all of that. So I hope you guys are ready to learn. Okay, so what are Python comments, right? Why do we need to put comment in our code? Okay, so just think for a second, right, that you write a lot of Python code and you need to explain your code to someone that doesn't know how to understand, like to write Python code, maybe your parent or your friends and all of that, right? You might have to explain your code line by line, but just imagine that you just put some comment in your code, say, oh yeah, this is what I'm trying to do, right? So that will kind of help that person to understand what you are doing, right? So Python comments are used to explain your code for someone that doesn't understand how to write a Python code, right? So that's what it's used for. So it also makes your code more readable, right? Again, if someone that doesn't understand Python want to read what you are doing, right? If you put some comment in there, say, oh yeah, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do this, right? So they'll be able to understand it, because when you put comment in your code, you use English, right, to put comment in your code. Like you don't have to use Python code to do that, right? So you use English language, right, to put comment in your code. Again, putting comment in your code also help other Python programmers to understand what you are writing, right? So just imagine that you want to build a Python software, right, and it's very big, and you need your friends to help you to work together, right, to get it done, right? So when you write your code and you want your friend to also continue to write it, right, you have to put comment in your code so that your friend will understand what you are trying to do, and your friend can continue from where you stop, right? You see, so comment is just to kind of use English language to explain your code so that your code will be more readable, right? Like even in future, if you are coming back to the code that you've written, right, if you don't put comment in there, it might be difficult for you to understand what you are trying to do. Okay, so let me give you an example of how comment is like written. So the quiz that I gave you guys, like in the last video, I said that you should print your name, your age, and something that you know about computer, right? So you are able to write that. So or if you just give that code to someone, like like the person won't understand what is going on. So what if we add a comment at the top and say, oh yeah, this is the solution to quiz one, right? So someone that sees that can say, oh yeah, this person is writing solution to quiz one. See, so that is what comments are used for. Comments are used for people to be able to understand what we are doing in our code. And I will show you an example of comment in the code right now. Okay guys, so let's first solve the quiz one. Let's do the solution for quiz one. So you remember, if you want to do that, you can just create a new file. So I'm going to create a new file called quiz1.py, right? So this is where I want to put my solution into. Then you remember, so we said that we should print our name. So let's assume that my name is Grace. So I'll say print my name is Grace, right? So that is that for that one. Then the next line, I want to print my age. So I'll print and I will say I am, assuming I'm 10 years old, right? And then, oh, you don't want to do that. So then I want to print something I know about computers. So I know that computers are digital devices, meaning they only understand zeros and ones, right? So digital means 0 and 1. Okay, so this is the solution. So let me run it. So we should all have something close to this. So I run this and I should get my solution down here. So this is my name is this and that. Okay, so that is solution to the quiz. All right, so now how do we add comment to this? You know, like what I've been trying to explain to you guys, that you need to put comment in your code so that people will understand what your code is meant for, right? Because if someone sees this code and say, oh yeah, you're just printing your name, your age, so what is it for, right? So we need to put a comment in here to say, oh yeah, this is what this code is for. So to do that, so because it's always good to put comment at the beginning of what you are trying to do, so just go to the end of this line. Okay, go to the end here, then press enter. So then we put comment on this line, then you can continue to put enter, it doesn't matter. So to put a comment, you have to start your comment with a pound sign. So this is a pound sign, see, that's a comment, right? Then I can put a comment and say this is the solution to quiz one. Then I save it. You guys know how to save, right? You can do Ctrl S or you. So you see, even that you see my comment is green. That's why you know that this is a comment, right? So anyone that sees this code now will say, this person is trying to solve quiz one. Again, you can put your comment anywhere, right? Okay, you can put it at the beginning of the line or at the end of the line. You can't put your comment inside what you are writing, but you can put it at the end. So let's say, for example, if you want to put comment on all of the lines, you can do that, but it's not but it's not compulsory. So you can say this line print my name, right? Yeah, you can do that. Then you can go down here too and say this line print my age, this line print what I like what I know about computer, right? It's all up to you, but make sure that when you want to write a comment, you must start with a pound sign. Okay, and when you run your code, this will not show in your result at all. No, it's just for people to be able to read it. When you put a pound sign and you put something in there, right? when you run your code, Python will ignore everything that you put in here, right? It will Python will know that this is just for people to understand your code and it doesn't have to run it. So let me run it so that you see. So you see it only prints the same thing and it ignores this. So again, it is good to put comment in your code, and you can put comment at the beginning of the line or at the end of the line. You can't put it within the line. I hope that helps. Okay guys, so let's talk about Python variables. What are Python variables? What do we use Python variables for, and why do we need them? Okay, so the first thing that you need to know is variables in Python are used in your Python code to store data and to do calculation. So yeah, imagine in the in quiz one that I gave you to print your name, right? So you are only able to print your name. What if you want to store your name in your computer using Python code, right? So you use variables to do that, to store any data that you have and to do any kind of calculation that you have. So again, computer, so like our computer has a large memory, right? Like gigabyte of space, even sometimes terabytes, right? So how do we use that memory to store our data and to do calculations, right? We use variables for that, and we have Python variables that we can use to tell the computer to use its memory to store our data and to do simple calculations like multiplications, additions, and all of that. So to kind of explain to you guys better what I'm trying to show you, so let's assume that a computer memory is this library shelf, right? So like the shelf that you're looking at right here that you see in your library, let's assume that this is computer memory and you want to store data in it. So library shelf, as you can see here, has different boxes that you can use to store different subjects. So you can use a box to store geography, one for mathematics, one for English, and all of that. So the same way, we need to create boxes in computer memory to store our data to be able to do calculations, right? So these boxes that you are looking at that might be in the computer memory are variables, and we need to give them names, right? So when you go to your library, you will see that they will put tags on each of the boxes, right? Say math, English, and all of that. So the same way, we need to create this box and give it a name so that we can tell the computer, oh yeah, this is the variable that I have, and this is the space, and I want to keep something in there. So again, for example, in the first quiz that I gave you guys, right, to print your name. So let's say that we want to create a variable, like we want to create a space in our computer memory that we can use to store our name. Then how do we use Python to do that? Oh yeah, so like we just create a space, like a box, just like what you have in the shelf. We create a box, then we give it a name, and that name is what we use to store the data, and the name is the variable name. So you just create a variable called name, then you put your name in it. So let's say name is equal to Grace, right? So like doing that, you have created a Python variable and you have stored your data in it. So rules for creating variable names. So number one, your variable name cannot start with a number. So you can't say one name. No, your name has to, like your variable name has to start with an alphabet or underscores. But make sure that your name doesn't start with a number. You know, if you do that, Python is going to show you some errors. Again, variable names, you cannot put space between variable names. So you can't say my space name, right? No, that won't work. So if you have two words that you want to use to name your variable name, right, you can put underscore between them. So you can say my name, right? So that way Python will be able to recognize your variable. So remember, your variable cannot start with a number, and your variable, there must be no spaces between your variables. Okay, so these are examples of variables that are good, and these are examples of variables that are not good. So there are different types of variables that we can create, right? So just the same way in your library, in your shelf, right? There are different books that you can put in different boxes, right? So in here, so like we have different types of variables in Python, but I will only explain two for you guys, right, so that you don't get confused. So like the first one is text or string, right? So just imagine that you want to store your name, yeah, right, in the computer memory, right? That variable is string, right? Because it's string of letters, right? So but if you want to store your age is a number, right? So we have two types of variables. One is text or string, another one is number, right? And that number can either be whole number, which is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, right? Or it might be decimal, right? Maybe 1.1 2.1, or for example pi, which is 3.142, right? It is good for you guys to know the types of data that you have, right? So that you know how to use them in writing your code, right? So we can use Python variables to do calculations and all of that. So I'm going to show you guys in the code how to create a variable, how to store data in your variable, and how to use your variables for calculation. So let's go and code. Let's start coding variables. I hope you guys are really excited to know how variable works in Python. So the first thing that we need to do, so let's create a new Python file. Okay, so if you want to create a new file, again, you come here. So let's call it variables.py. You can call it anything you want. Okay, good. So I told you guys that adding comment to our code is really good. So why don't you just add comment and say you can put any comment you want. Okay, so this Python code is for variables variable examples. Okay, so now so the first variable that we're going to create is variable to store our name, right? Just like the last quiz that I gave you guys. So variable to store our name, and I told you guys that if you want to create a variable, it must not start with a number and there should be no space between them. So let's create a variable, call it name, right? And then we'll put our data inside the name. So let's put Grace. See, so what happened now is I created a variable called name and put Grace inside of it. So what Python will do for me when I run this code is that it will go into my computer memory and create a block of space for me and call that block name and put Grace inside of it. So it's storing my name in the data, like in the computer, right? So before we continue, so let's just print. So now that we have our variable, if you want to print your variable and see what is inside of your variable, you see, just say print name, right? So print my variable. So if everything is correct, name should show Grace because what is inside name is Grace. Okay, so let's run this and see what we're gonna get. See, Grace. So that means it works, right? The computer was able to help us to save our data in our variable name, and when we print it, see, well, it gives us the Grace name. Okay, so so if you want to make this look really nice, let's say I want to say my name is Grace. Okay, yeah, because I don't want to put my name here, right? Like I only want to store my name in this variable. So we can do something here. There's a way to do that. So just do double quote, put a comma here, and say my name is, then we can put colon and space. Okay, yeah. So if you run this one, it will give you my name is Grace. Good. So now let's create another variable, call it age, right? And remember, age is gonna be a number. So the type of number, like, so let's say the age is 10. Doing like this is not right, because age is a number. So for numbers, you don't put any quote around it, just say do like this. Okay, so we created a variable called age and we put 10 inside of it. So let's see if our computer is going to do that to age. And again, let's do this. My age is, don't forget to put comma here. So hopefully computer was able to put this in the memory. So let's run it. Good, it worked. My name is this and my day. Okay, good. So that means, so you see examples of variables and how it works. You can declare any variable and you can use it for anything that you want. Okay, so let's use variable to do simple mathematics equation or problem. Okay, so I'm going to put another comment, says using variables for math. You don't have to do this. Okay, so let's say I have this they gave me this in my school. They say A is equal to 3, B is equal to 4, and C is equal to A plus B, right? So by you looking at this, is C is going to be A plus B, right? It's going to be 3 plus 4, which is going to be 7. So but how do we tell our Python to do that for us? So so A is 3, B is 3. So we're going to create variables for A, like variable for A, variable for C. And how do you create variables? So just say A is equal to 3, right? And B, you can put space like this, or you can remove the space, whichever, but I think it's much better this way. So now we created this variable. Then we know that C is equal to A plus B. So all I have to do is C is equal to A plus B. That's all. So now, so you see, I was able to create my variable A, store some value in it, do that for B, store some value in it, and I put my equation here. I want Python to help me to solve the equation of adding. So like Python will go to where it store A, get what is inside A, get what is inside B, and add them together. So let's see if Python is right. So if you want to know what is, like, if this is right, so we just print C, right? We check what is inside C. So print C. So if everything goes right, C should be 7, right? So let's see. Yeah, our calculation is right. See, the calculation is correct. So C is 7 because we add everything together. Okay, so let me give you guys another example. So another comment. So let's say A is 3, no 5, that's 15, and B is 3, and we want our C to be A divided by B, right? So what's the answer? Again, it's very easy. Create a variable for A, create variable for B, then say C is equal to A divided by B. Then if you print your C, 15 divided by 3 should be 5, right? If you print your C, then the answer should be 5.0. Okay, it's a float, it's a decimal. Okay, good. Okay, so let's use this to do a little bit something complex, but not really complex. We are going to use it to do solve physics equation. Okay, just pay attention. Okay, so the question is this. So if you don't have to write the question, right? But if you want to write it, it's fine. So if a jet flew from the US to UK, okay, so distance between US and UK is 6,484 kilometers, right? Okay, so that's so a jet flew from US to UK, and this is the distance, and it flew from in 9 hours. Okay, so it used 9 hours to fly from US to UK, and this is the distance. So the question is, what was the speed of the jet, right? So if the jet flew from US to UK, this distance in 9 hours, so how fast was the jet going? So to know the speed, so the formula, I'll give you guys a formula. So it's a formula in physics. So the speed is distance divided by time. It's as simple as that, right? So if a jet flew from US to UK at this distance, at this hour, then what's the speed of the jet? So you see the distance, we have the distance, time, we have the time, then we need to calculate the speed. So let's create a variable for our distance. So distance is equal to, so you don't have to put kilometer, just put the number. Okay, 66484, right? Then our time is 9 hours, so just say time is equal to 9. Then what is our speed? Can you guess how to do that? Yeah, so speed is very easy. Just use the formula that was given to you, speed divided by time. Then you print your speed. Oh, okay. Then you print your speed, that's all. So if you run it, so you see this, the jet was flying 720 kilometer per hour. This decimal I just ignore. So again, I can do something like this. I'll say the jet was flying at speed of, say the jet was flying at speed of this, and also I can do this, but yeah, so kilometer per hour. So you see, like we were able to create a distance variable, we put some value in it, we put some time, and then we'll do this. So, and we're able to calculate this, right? So if you have any math homework, and you want to use Python to solve it, you see it's very easy. Just create variables for all the values that you have been given, then you use your formula to calculate the rest. Okay, so I hope you guys understand this. It's very simple. Creating variable is very simple, and the type of this variable, right? Like for example, this one is string, right? And this one is integer, right? So I can show you. Okay, so print, I think it's type of, okay, just type. So let's say you don't have to do this. I just want to show you guys that this is string and this is integer. So if I print type of name, and name is string, right? So the answer should be string. So let's run it. See, str, so it's string. Okay, so if I print the type of this one, which is 10, this one should show me integer. Again, this is just for you guys to know that there are types of variables. Okay, and if I print this, because if you see this speed has decimals, right? So if I print the type of the speed, it should be float, just like I told you in the slide. Okay, see, it's float. See, so those are the types of the variables that we have, and you can use variables for storing information about yourself, do some simple math equation, and doing some physics equation. Like in the quiz that I will give you guys, I'm gonna tell you guys to solve some physics equation using Python. It's very easy. Okay, it's just the same thing that I did here, so please don't be afraid. Okay, all right, so thank you guys. If you have any question, any comment, please put it in the chat. All right, guys, so this is the quiz that I have for you guys today. It is very easy. Please don't be afraid of it. It's the same example that I gave you in the code earlier, right? So the question is: a SpaceX rocket left Earth to travel to Mars at a distance of 222 million miles, right? So the distance between Earth and Mars is 222 million, right? So the rocket traveled at speed of 24,600 miles per hour. So your job is to write a Python code to calculate how long that rocket will reach Mars, given this distance, given this speed, right? So if SpaceX asks you to write a code, to help them to calculate the time that their rocket will get to where it's going, how do you do that, right? So you remember, you have to create a variable called distance. You have to set it to this value, 222 million. Then you create a variable called speed. You set it to 24,600. Then you write your equation, which is time is equal to distance divided by speed, and then you will print your time, right? And there you go, you're able to solve it. So please let me know if you guys have any question, but this should be very easy for you to do, right? So in your solution, you can just call your file quiz2.py. remember, don't put space between quiz and 2. You can say quiz2, no space, or quiz_2, or you can call your file any name you want, right? But just make sure that your code runs well. All right, thank you. All right, guys, thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and please share with your friends. So I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you.